Step 5. Now we're actually getting into the procedure. On step 5, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure the engine's still running. We're going to keep our foot on the brake, and we're going to put the selector into reverse. And we're going to stay there for a total of 5 seconds. Once again, engine is running, your foot is on the brake and it stays there. The selector is now in reverse, and we're going to stay there for 5 seconds. Step 6. Engine still running. We're going to make sure our foot is still depressing on the brake pedal, and we're going to move the selector over to drive. Now we're going to stay in that position for another 5 seconds. Once again, engine running, foot on the brakes, drive for 5 seconds. Step 7. We've got the selector in drive. We can go ahead and release the brakes. Engine's running at this point. We're actually going to give a little bit of throttle, and we're going to feel it shift from first to second. We want to stay in second gear. So monitor it, watch it. If you need to see your RPM change, so be it, or you can feel when it goes from first to second. We want to stay in second gear for a total of 5 seconds. Remember, foot's off the brake. We're in drive. We want to shift up to second gear, 5 seconds. Step 8. At this point, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start applying the brakes. The back tires are still spinning from step 7 when we were in drive, getting up to second gear. Well, now we need to come back down to 0, so that's why we're applying the brakes. Once we come to a complete stop, we'll go ahead and move the selector over to neutral. Once we're in neutral, now we'll raise the engine RPM up to 2,000. Once we're at 2,000, we'll maintain it for a total of 5 seconds. Once again, come to a complete stop using the brake pedal, put it in neutral, raise the RPM up to 2,000 for 5 seconds. Now we're up to step 9, which is the final step. What we're going to be doing here is our final fluid level check. We've gone through all the gears, we've raised the RPM up, we've gone through the different positions. Now it's the final check. Now, the engine's still running. We're going to do one of two things. We're either going to raise the vehicle up on the lift so we can gain access underneath, or if you're doing it yourself, you need to make sure the vehicle's on all 4 wheels now. Make sure you chuck the back tires, emergency brakes on, make sure it's in park, because you will be under the vehicle and the engine will be running. So you're going to remove the fuel plug. What we want to look for is if anything comes out or if nothing comes out, because if nothing comes out, we're going to be pumping some of that 8/9 speed trans fluid into it until it does start coming out, and then we're going to put the fuel plug back in. Now, if something does come out, make sure you've got the catch pan already up under the transmission, and you let what's in it trickle to a stop, put the fuel plug back in. Now this is keeping in mind that the trans temp hasn't gotten above 85 degrees. If it has, like I said, you'll have to let it cool down and repeat the entire process. But remember, we didn't tighten it all the way down. Now when you're working around here, be careful, the exhaust is going to be getting hot because the engine is running. Don't have to burn yourself. And we're going to check. We don't have any fluid coming out at this point, so we're going to have to add. Now normally in this circumstance you wouldn't have to, but we did do a repair. We had a loss of fluid. That's the reason why we got to come back and pump fluid into it. So we'll pump fluid in it until it starts coming back out, and then once it stops, we'll put the plug back on. And we may have to do the procedure again once it cools back down to double check the fluid level. Now this is the fluid you're going to need to be using. This is 8 and 9 speed ATF offered through Mopar. Now the part number is 6821 89 25 AA as an alpha alpha. Now it goes for approximately $40 a quart. Now like I said, this is the fluid that this specific transmission takes. Now when it comes time to put fluid inside that transmission, you can't get a bottle to put to the side of the transmission and squeeze it in. You got exhaust in the way, you've got sheet metal from the floor up above. So what I've got is a pump right here, clear container. You've got a pump you pick up at the local parts store. It's almost like a lotion dispenser type setup. I push down, it squirts fluid. I need to put a rubber hose on there to make it 90 degrees, so be it. But then I can also monitor how much fluid is in here. I've already got some 8 and 9 speed trans fluid in this now. And what I'll do is I'll go and I will fill up the access plug so it starts coming out. But let's say this is something you can pick up at the local parts store. They make different styles. but this is basically a run-of-the-mill type pump setup. Now the procedure sounds kind of lengthy. That's mainly because of the way I broke it down step by step by step. And yes, I had to I repeated it for you as well, so it kind of gets burned into your memory. But the actual process doing it doesn't take that long. It's just a matter of getting used to the technique. What's step 1, what's step 2, what's step 3. Once you do it a few times and you've got it memorized, it's pretty cut and dry. But definitely follow all the steps. Now this is directly from Chrysler. This is how they recommend checking the fluid level. This is the way I recommend checking the fluid level. Follow the steps and you shouldn't have any problems. So there you go. Now you saw step by step what we need to do to check the transmission fluid on the 8-speed transmission. Now it's not cut and dry. There are some steps, but like I said before, you're not doing this every day. There had to be a couple reasons why. You found a leak or you got a symptom as far as the way the transmission's shifting, and you're just verifying that the fluid level is correct. So at this point, ask for any kind of thumbs up on YouTube. Don't forget to like me on Facebook, and you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well. If you got any comments or suggestions about today's video or anything Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram related, please feel free to email me at david@motorcitymechanic.com, and I'll get back to you in a timely manner. Once again, thanks for watching these videos.